Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
I'm Kim Crumbly.
And I'm Laura Rankhorn.
And together we are Counselor Accents. Ready for our nugget, Laura?
I'm so ready. Now, is this a nugget or is it a rubber meets the road? Or is it a rubber meets the road nugget? Is it a chicken nugget?
A rubber nugget. It is a rubber nugget.
All right, I'm ready for our rubber nugget.
This is where we give a 15-minute nugget, and we always say we like when we take whatever and make it, usable. Rubber meets the road.
Yes.
And if you could see us, I don't know if you're watching or listening, we are decked out with our new mics, and it's like an SNL skit.
That's exactly what it feels like.
But and you've got that extra little piece on yours, but
I can take it off so that we're equal.
No, that's fine. I have that piece. I just chose not to use it. So,
well,
it's a muffler for your microphone. You need to be muffled.
Oh,
so,
gosh.
Laura, I don't know if you have looked at the Ask a magazine for January.
Enlighten
February. It is, and we have discussed this, so I know that you have. It is about a lot of the articles are about building relationships with other people for your program. So it's about building relationships with stakeholders, and I'm looking for my magazine as we speak. Here it is. So there was a lot of really good articles in this, in the glare. Ask a school counselor, and this is for January, February. Building relationships, and it just kind of led to a conversation that we had, and that's where our rubber meets the road is going to lead us today. And we're going to talk about going off-road, I believe you said, and talk about relationship building with some of the unsung heroes and what they can do for your program, and the importance of building those relationships with maybe some folks who are vital to the school that you may not which I think most school counselors do see the value in everyone. But sometimes we forget that we have these people who are there, and they're dealing with the kids sometimes more than we are, because they see all the kids on a daily basis. And one in particular is the cafeteria workers.
Yes. We've talked a lot about working with the librarian. We've presented on that topic with our good friend from New York State, Christina. And so we've talked about the librarian. We've talked about the tech lab person, STEAM lab, STEM lab, whatever you guys have. We've talked a lot about those people. But like you said, these are the unsung heroes that we may not think of.
There are some groups of people that are going to see kids every single day. Mm-hmm. And that's not us all the time. I mean, we're not going to see all groups of people. And we, like one group of people that we said is the lunchroom workers.
Yes.
And how building those relationships with them. And I thought you've told an interesting story, and I thought you might want to share that about just this year, what a lunchroom lady or man, what do they call them? Lunchroom, cafeteria workers.
Well, we do. Yes. Cafeteria workers. Yes. Anyway, I have a student that gets out of the car frequently and is upset. And so sometimes first thing in the morning, we go into my office just for a deep breath and a reset. And so one day I just happened to walk in the lunchroom after having met with this student. I walked into the lunchroom, and one of the cafeteria workers said, "He breaks my heart." She said, "Is there anything we can do?" She said, "I noticed that he gets out of the car upset." And she said, "I've told him that if he ever needs to talk about anything, I'm here and he can come talk with me." And so it's just an extension of us whenever, we've talked before about how we can't be in 100 places at once. And so if she were to talk with him, just another caring adult we know has an impact on a student because they can undo a lifetime of trauma just having that one caring adult. And so, the more people
Yeah.
that make that child feel welcome and cared about, the better.
Yeah, and a lot of times those, lunchroom workers know the hunger needs of the student. They're I get more of this from them than anything is that they've they'll come and say they'll notice that they're just they just gobbling down that food or that they're wanting more food. And so, just building that having that relationship with them so that they feel like, we have to be careful what we say, what we know the background story is, but sometimes we don't even know there's an issue, and that's where a lot of the folks in the school can work together because it's about the kids.
Well, and on the
So
flip
another
side of
group of
that,
people, yeah,
I was going to say on the flip side of that too, the ones who all of a sudden aren't eating, that's important to know too. So
absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So another group of people are the bus drivers, and every day they're going to these students' homes, and they see when we don't see what they're living in. And I know we have an organization in our where we live that actually goes through the bus drivers to give out the Christmas that they're going to give out. They go through the bus drivers because, and I thought that was really smart because they actually every day are looking at that home, that yard, a lot of times the parents or the adults that's in and out of the home. So a lot of times they have eyes on things that we don't. And so building that relationship with them, getting to know them when you're standing out on duty or, making is it duty? And I just said duty.
you said duty, and I was trying to be mature. I'm like, you're not 12, you're not 12, you're not 12.
You've got that new mic, and I love the way you're trying to be mature, but I just, instead of saying duty. Duty.
We are grown up now,
Walter.
Kim. Look, the
Okay,
shenanigans are over. The shenanigans are over.
there will be henceforth there will be no shenanigans. So anyway, we do the suicide protocol with every person in the school, including the bus drivers. And I believe it was last year, Laura, that years start to mesh together. It may have been the year before that where we had an incident at my school where the bus driver actually saved a student's life who was trying to take their life. And I'm not going to go into details of how he was doing that, but it took all the strength of the bus driver to stop this student from taking or really harming himself anyway. And so that is a lot of pressure and a
Yeah.
lot of stress that are on bus drivers. And you think about a rolling classroom and they are having to watch the road and all this stuff that could be going on the bus. And in the middle of COVID, I believe there's a bus driver shortage throughout the nation. And I can see why that's a really tough job. And so, one good way to start building that relation is just maybe just thanking them for what they're doing. So that I meant that I'm going to do that. I've talked myself into that. I'm making an effort to thank them for what they do. So that's another unsung hero.
Very good.
What are you tickled about? I see you're really tickled. Is it the microphone still? You're not getting
No.
past it?
No, I'm tickled because your eyes are
Are
half.
you still on the dude?
No, your eyes are half closed. I'm like, it is late and you do have a curfew. There's also a lag, and so it seems like you're talking
do.
really slowly and not just Southern, but like really slowly. So I'm like, is she about to fall
Really
asleep?
Southern. As are the listeners.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Your turn. What's another group?
The other group that comes to my mind are the custodians. And you and I both have stories about where the custodians have come into our office, and I know you have one very recently. I have one where a custodian came to my office and said, "Hey, this student is going into the bathroom and staying there for 10 minutes at a time." And it turns out that was a situation that we needed to be aware of. We needed to know what was going on there. So
Yeah.
that custodian really helped that student. I've also relied on my custodians in the past. I don't know if you guys are fortunate enough to have a washer and dryer where you are, but I want that on my gravestone when I die, that every school counselor needs to have access to a washer and dryer, because for a while there I was using it every day, it seemed like. So, anyway, but the custodian would go in there, and if I happen to forget, which I do frequently at my own house too, I forget to switch them over to the dryer. And so she would save my tail day in and day out whenever, I mean, hello, we get busy doing our job, and I would get to run in there and switch it out. And then she would bring me a fold pile of clothes. And it's like, I didn't know whether to cry or hug her through
Right.
tears or what.
Yeah, so that's another good relationship if you builder right there, because we're all here to advocate for the kids and to help one another, and they have a job to do, but and while they're doing that job, they're surrounded by these students, and they see a lot of stuff that we're not seeing or picking up on. So, and here's one I'm going to throw out, and that is the physical education people, the PE teachers.
Okay.
And a lot of times, they are going to see, every group, and we've not really ever talked about
No, we haven't.
physical education teachers, but a lot of drama seems to happen out at PE.
You
A lot
are
of things can
right.
take place out at PE. And if you're fortunate enough to have great, physical ed teachers, I know mine have walked with students around the track. I have had students who felt more comfortable with that adults because they saw them every single day, and they would talk to them and, just build that relationship and get to know them. So, anyone else before we go?
Well, I know that we've talked about this before, but I think that we would be just totally remiss if we did not say the school nurse.
Yes.
The
Yes.
school
And I
nurse.
thought that was one we've already talked about. That's why I
We,
didn't go there. So don't make me
I
seem
know,
like,
I know, and that's why I tried to preface it by saying, I know we've talked about this before. In other words, don't
uh-huh.
get your stupid feelings hurt.
I like to say panties in a wad.
I don't
Don't
like
get
to
your
talk
panties in a
about
wad. Does
undergarment.
anybody say that?
I
Does
don't
anybody else say that? Is that regional or is that worldwide? Panties in said wad.
I don't know, but I do know that if my mother hears this, then she will be upset that we're
Okay.
talking about underwear and mixed company.
I'm sorry. I'm going to back it on up.
Yeah. Anyway, the nurse knows which kids have a stomach ache at 1 o'clock
Oh,
every day.
yeah.
They know, they see things that we may need to know about for safety purposes and mandatory reporting situations.
Yeah.
So they are some people that we need to keep a close relationship with.
And Laura, I'm sure we're leaving people out. So, let us know who are those unsung heroes in your school, because we need to be very aware of those relationships and what they can do for us. So it's not
And
as obvious sometimes with other groups of people, but we could go on, and I imagine somebody's going to say the school secretary, and
which
even.
is huge.
Yes, so it goes on and on. So
Yeah.
it's this big family or this big community, and we're all working together. And it's important to, yes, build those relationships with the obvious stakeholders, but sometimes let's not forget these stakeholders.
Very good. You can catch us on Facebook. You can join our email mailing list. You can find us on Instagram. And all of these places we post every time there is a full moon. It seems like that's about as frequently as we post. We're trying to do better, but no promises. But what we can say is your inbox will not be inundated with emails from us. If that ever happens, we were hacked. So join us, find us on social media.